Okay, I think I am live. Let's see. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to weekly energy forecast. All right. So, I'm just going to wait a few minutes for some people to pop on. But I just did some channeling and I'm going to share that with you and just some thoughts about the energies for the week and what I'm kind of picking up on and what I think is important. Hi, Zara. Welcome. Yes, definitely let me know you're here so I can tune in with your energy. Hi, Shannon. Yeah, so the guides are really clear and I'm getting emotional, so I know that the energy is coming through me. That this week was going to be a psychic activation, and that I needed to help everyone activate their psychic gifts on a deep level. So that's what today is, and there's a lot of reasons why I feel extremely passionate about helping you activate your gifts and abilities and creating a really strong and solid um, connection to spirit. And part of the reason why is because as we are going through, hi, Crystal. Um, so, yeah, so hi, Karen. Um, so one of the reasons why I feel so passionate about that is because as we move into these shifts that are happening on the planet, shifts in consciousness, there is a great awakening occurring. Things are shifting rapidly, and I'm sure you've noticed. I know in a lot of ways it can look like complete chaos, right? But what's actually happening is the old systems and structures are being dismantled gradually over time so that we can rebuild a planet that is harmonious and that is living in accordance with the earth, with energetics that are supportive to all of us, and in a way where we are cooperating with each other and living in a way where we are helping each other awaken our gifts, sharing resources, and helping each other heal. Hi, Roxy. Hi, Krista. So, and the reason why that has to do with your psychic abilities is the way that we're going to be guided through this is by tuning into spirit. So, the way that we are going to navigate this, all of these changes, is by listening to our inner guidance, is by listening to our guides, our connection to spirit, to the universe, to God, whatever you want to call it, however you like to connect. And that's one of the things that I feel so passionately about. I was just on a call with a colleague, and we were talking about the importance of people creating their own path. There's no method, right? Like people can show you their methods, but ultimately it's up to you to create your own path, to create your own way of connecting to spirit, because we all have different ways that we're going to do that, right? How I do it may be different from how you do it, but what I am called to do is hold the space and give you the tools to help you find your way to spirit. So, the guides are really clear that this is going to be an energetic transmission to activate a deeper level of your psychic abilities. So just take a moment and drop into your body, close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and just feel into the sacred space that we're creating here. Calling in the energy of your guides, the angels, the fairies who are always with me, thanks to Andrea, and the guidance of your ancestors, and just feeling this really sacred, beautiful space created around you for the activation and this up level. And just setting the intention now that you would like to delve into a deeper level with your connection to spirit and have and be an open channel for guidance to come through at all times, and being 100% available to trust this guidance at all times. Because I know for me, and I know many of you can relate to this, and you can open your eyes if your eyes are still closed. Hi, Tao. We all are receiving information at all times, but one of the things that it's can be challenging to do is to trust the information that's coming through and then acting on that information. So taking the action, right? So we get these downloads or we get messages from spirit, and you can let me know in the comments if you relate to this. But then it's in the doing that trips us up, right? And this was always me in the beginning of when I started my business, because I've always been really psychic. So I would get these downloads of what I was supposed to do, but then I would have a hard time implementing it because I would question myself, or I would be afraid of what other people were going to think, and blah blah blah, you know, the whole song and dance that we do, right? So once I started to really trust the messages that I was receiving, that's when I really started to fly. And that's what I really want everyone to get activated with on this transmission, is a deeper level of trust in the information and the messages that you're receiving from your guides. Hi, Valeria. Hi, Nat. So just feel into what that would feel like for you to have this deeper level of trust in the information and messages that you're receiving from spirit at all times, because you are a divine portal. You have a deep connection to spirit. So it's just about trusting that even more, right? And it's always a journey of trusting it even more and more and more. So I'm going to go into the channeling that I did around activating your gifts and beginning to receive messages on an even deeper level. And then I'll open it up for questions. If you guys have any specific questions around nuances of your intuition, or listening to the information, or taking action on the information, or if you have a specific scenario that you're struggling with around, if you're not sure about something that you're receiving or any of that, I'll take a few questions at the end after I go through the channeling. Oh, Karen says, totally get this. Woke up at 4:44 a.m. Oh, that's always me. Twice this morning with messages, and then accepted it as divine download and moved forward accordingly. Yes, I love it. Perfect. And especially when you are able to receive the message and act on it right away, that's so important. And the reason why is that is actually nurturing and nourishing your relationship with spirit. And what ends up happening is that as you nurture that relationship, the relationship gets bigger, it expands, it becomes more prevalent in your life, just like as a relationship with your partner, right? If you continue to honor that person, if you listen to what their desires are, if you honor what they're wanting, if you respect what they're saying, that creates an even more loving and beautiful energy in the relationship, where the exchange is more supportive and it's more loving and it expands. And it's the same thing with our relationship with spirit. The more you honor it and listen to it, the more love you're going to receive, the more information, the more energy, the more messages, right? Oh yeah. And perfect time to do some automatic writing. Yes, automatic writing is great. Um, that's part of some of what we do in the awakening as well is doing automatic writing. I still do automatic writing all the time. It was something that helped me really tune into my gifts in the very beginning. And now, as you can see, um, when I channel messages, especially for these group lives or anything where I'm channeling messages for a group, I always do it through automatic writing because A, it helps me remember what's coming through, but B, it just allows me to be a very clear channel for information, um, where I can get a lot of information out as compared to like just um, trying to remember it, which is really hard. I do that when I'm channeling for myself. Like if I'm communicating to my guides for myself, if I'm asking questions about something that I specifically should do, I will just ask and I'll receive an answer. And then the other thing I sometimes do is I'll like voice record it. But for some reason, that's not always as powerful for me as actually writing. So definitely love the idea of channeled writing. Um, Zara says, I always wake up between 3 and 4 a.m., but how do you know what message you're supposed to hear? Well, that is something that you can start to refine, but also you want to start working with asking questions. So, this is something where, for some of you I know who've done my courses, I will always be like, well, did you ask? Because that's the number one thing is the more clear you are about what you want to know and what type of information you want to receive, the more information you're going to receive, right? So if you're just very broad of like, tell me a message, then your guides might be like, oh, you are loved unconditionally, But if you ask like a very specific question, like, should I do this or this today for my business? Or should I work with this person? Or like if you, Tal says, I always forget to ask. It's true. Ask. And if you have, like, Zara, say you're waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning. If you want to know why, ask. Be like, why do you guys keep waking me up at 3 a.m.? What's up with that? What do you need me to know? What information do I need to know at this time that you're waking me up at 3 in the morning? And see what comes through. And if you don't have anything come through, then try automatic writing. Try asking a question and just start writing and see what comes out. Or if you don't hear anything when you ask a question, say, okay, I'm going to allow the answer to be shown to me. I'm going to allow the answer to be shown to me throughout my day. And then you never know, or it probably will happen that you'll see something, someone will say something to you, you'll be reminded of something that's like, oh, that's what it was. So then this is how you get in the miracle frequency, is by allowing yourself to be shown, allowing yourself to receive these messages, allowing yourself to connect the dots between the miracles and the coincidences that are already occurring. Okay? All right. Hi, Lydia. Karen says, I always ask my question as a prayer before I go to sleep. That's amazing. Hi, Allison. One of the things that I love to do, and I think I shared this, maybe I didn't share this last week. I don't even remember. But one of the practices, and this is actually a Buddhist practice that I have been doing that is really amazing, is before you go to sleep and right when you wake up, you practice, what is it called? You practice rejoicing. Okay? So say that you are wanting to call in a new relationship, right? Before you go to bed, you practice rejoicing all of the people that you have helped call in a relationship, or all of the people in your life that you supported in some way of them calling in a relationship. So what you're actually doing is you're practicing rejoicing, helping other people do the thing that you want to create. And what that does is it creates this like juice, this like energy that energizes the manifestation that you're calling in. It energizes that thing that you're trying to create. And I'm telling you, it works. Okay? So that's this Buddhist practice. My best friend and energy healer taught it to me. It's really, really powerful and super simple. And it actually is a way that you can retrain your mind to be in gratitude right before bed and right when you wake up. And that in itself is super powerful. Because I know for me, and I bet you guys can relate to this, is that I would often wake up feeling fear or feeling like, oh no, what's going to go wrong or what do I have to fix? And this is a programming that we've been programmed from our ancestral lines to think that there's always something we need to fix or always a problem we have to solve, a fire we have to put out, or something we need to do to survive. Right? That's that deep ancestral programming that we all end up living from, which is really important to release in order to get to the next level and to more and more higher levels. But that's just one little thing that you can do to deprogram that, is begin to be in this place of rejoicing and gratitude right before bed and right before you wake up. Such a great practice. Okay. Oh, Lydia, wait, I think I had a question. Oh, do you have any advice for something that has hella active dreams, maybe learning if they have a meaning or messages? Yeah. So what you want to do with the dreams is you want to start asking. Just like I said, ask to be shown what these dreams are trying to tell you, or what is the message, what is the information that you need to receive from these dreams. Okay, like ask to be shown that, because sometimes we can have all of these crazy dreams, and sometimes, quite frankly, we are doing work in other dimensions. Like when we're in our dreams, we are in other dimensions, we are working in the astral. So you might very well be doing something in like another realm, but you can receive that information, you just have to ask. So say, I want to know what is the message I'm supposed to be getting from this dream, especially if you feel like you are supposed to be getting it. Ask and sit in meditation. And if you don't receive anything, say, I'm going to allow myself to be shown the answer. And you always will receive something. The universe will always provide it to you. You just have to be tuned in and looking for it. And that's why it's so important to continue to be more and more tuned into these subtle energies and your psychic abilities, because you 100% have them. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to read my channeling, and then I will. Oh, thank you, Andrea. She said I look stunning. That's so funny, because I was like, should I go put on makeup? And I'm like, I really don't feel like going upstairs because my office is down in the basement. And I'm like, it's fine. So I'm glad I'm glowing. Thank you. Oh, Andrea gave you the same advice. Shocking, because Andrea and I are like this. Our work goes so well together. It's funny because I was just talking about this morning of my work and Andrea's work, and how they just are very much like a yin and not a yin and a yang, but they just complement each other, because my zone of genius is helping you move through massive amounts of ancestral trauma and healing in a short amount of time, so you can open up really deeply to your abilities. And then Andrea's zone of genius is connecting you really deeply to your guides and to the angels and the fairy realm and all of those things. So our work just goes really well together. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to read what I channeled about your psychic abilities, and then I will take questions. Okay. So they said, what, and they've been actually like tapping me on the shoulder all week, being like, you need to help people, again, really deeply connect with their abilities. This is really, 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 really important right now. So I've been getting this message over and over and over again. Okay. Okay. Nat says, I also see your glow. You look even more like yourself, even though I never met you. That's so funny. I recently have gone through like a major shift in my own life as well, just in general. I mean, I'm always shifting and changing constantly, but I have been doing work with a bunch of people. Andrea is one of them. I had a session with her this week that completely shifted me. I've been doing Jocelyn Kelly Reed's Money Queen work, which I'm sure some of you know. She's amazing. And then also my own energy healing techniques. So I've had this crazy kind of like opening in the last week, so that might be why I look like I'm glowing. But thank you, everybody. Okay, so why your psychic abilities want to come online in a very active way? Because this is what they're telling me. They're like, everyone's abilities want to come online even more. Like it's this it's like this like explosion energy that they're showing me. Um, there's a new way of receiving information that is now available to you. You needn't have to look outside yourself for information. So they're like really wanting me to give you this very extreme message that we need to get out of the programming of looking outside of ourselves for information. Like they really want you to get in your body on like this very deep energetic level that like all of the information resides within you and you have access to all the information. It's kind of this way that like when I started tapping into the Akashic records, I realized that I had always been tapped into the Akashic records. And it's the same for you. Like you already have the ability to tap into infinite amounts of information. So that's what they really want you to understand and like embody in a deeper way right now. You must trust yourself fully with the guidance you receive at all times. So again, this is about trust. This guidance from your direct connection to spirit is the number one way for you to receive information about how to proceed with anything. And they made me write anything really big. So I'm going to read that again. This guidance from your direct connection to spirit is the number one way for you to receive information about how to proceed with anything. So like they want you to know that like the information you receive from spirit, that is like your go-to answer, right? So instead of like asking people or looking outside yourself, they want you to go to within, to your spirit guides, to your guides, to however you connect. They want that to be the number one way that you're receiving information about what to do next. Okay. Trust what you're drawn to. Trust where you're guided. And if something doesn't feel right to you, trust that. We've been trained in coercion by the media, parents, and schools. You do not have to give up your sovereignty to be safe, free, or secure. You can be free just by listening to your inner guidance. So what they're trying to say here is to really listen to if something doesn't resonate with you, if something doesn't feel right to you, because we've been trained to like do the things even though we don't want to do them because it's right, it's the right thing to do, it's the good thing to do, or your parents will give you this thing if you do this thing that you don't want to do. Like we've been trained to that we have to give up something in order to get. And they want you to know that that's actually not the case. You can have and the other, like yes and yes, you can have both. Because we've had this programming that you have to give something up in order to get something, and they want you to know that like that's not actually how it is, and now is the time to release that programming. So this is really important. This is something I've been working with for a while, and it's the most liberating thing once you can embody it. So they are telling me to repeat this part. You can be free just by listening to your inner guidance. That's where the freedom comes in, right? That's where the sovereignty comes in, just by allowing yourself to listen to this guidance and embody it fully. And do the work to get as clear as possible. So this is the other piece around allowing yourself to have this guidance be the number one way that you receive information about what to do next. The other piece of that is do the work to get as clear as possible. Because when we still have the old programming, sometimes it can be hard to trust because we think that we need to give something up, we think that we need to concede in some way, and that's not the case. So in order to get as clear as possible to receive information, we need to do the work to get as clear as possible. That's why, like, as a side, as a, what do you call it? Side result of everyone who goes through the metamorphosis and who works with me, is they end up becoming more psychic, is because they clear this deep ancestral programming, this deep familiar programming. Because when you do that, you have so much more space to open up to the messages you're receiving from spirit. So it's like a side, what do you call it? Like side result. I don't know if there's a better word for that. Okay, so they're saying it's so important to work through your trauma. And this is an ongoing process of self-discovery and curiosity. So it's not about like, okay, I'm going to like work through my trauma now and then I'll be better. No, it's not like that. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be painful. It just has to be a commitment to curiosity and self-discovery, because there's always deeper layers. There always is more to uncover, and it doesn't have to be painful or difficult. It can be uncomfortable at times, but as long as you're willing to go deeper, and as long as you have that curiosity, like that childlike curiosity, instead of making yourself wrong of, oh my God, I've done so much work, but I still have this thing. No, it's not like that. What it is like, oh, this is interesting that this is coming up right now. I wonder what this is about. And having that childlike curiosity of, oh, that's interesting. Okay, this is what's showing up for me. Oh, cool. Okay, I'm going to go grab that tool in my toolbox and I'm going to handle it. And I'm going to move through it. And when I come out on the other side, I'm going to enter the miracle frequency, and I'm going to see the wild, miraculous thing that unfolds once I move through this. And that's how it's played. That's the energy of how we move into the self-discovery and curiosity of continuing to move through deeper and deeper levels. So let me know if that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. But it's this piece around curiosity, instead of it being like this, like, oh my gosh, I need to do all this work. It's more around like, well, how can I be more curious about how I can continue to go deeper within myself so I can elevate to these higher levels of consciousness and live more in this frequency of miracles that I keep being shown. Okay, so yeah, so this is an ongoing process of self-discovery and curiosity. The more you release, the more psychic you become. And this gets to be easier and easier, which is the really exciting part. So the more we move through some of these patterns and this programming, the easier it is to tap into these messages from spirit and live from this place of inner knowing and relying on your inner guidance as your number one way to proceed. That's really this like big thing that they are wanting everybody to know. Okay, so that's all they had to say. I love any questions if you guys have them, if this is making sense. I know it's not always like an easy thing to understand, but there is this really beautiful relationship between releasing ancestral programming and familial trauma and stepping into owning and living from your really beautiful psychic gifts. The two kind of go together, and you can't really have one without the other, because from either way, if you decide you really want to do some healing, automatically when you do that healing, your psychic gifts are going to come online. Or if you decide, I really want my psychic gifts to come online, the byproduct, that's the word I was looking for, the byproduct of that becomes that you experience a deep healing. They just go together, and I know that from lots of experiences. So let me know if you guys have questions, if you have questions about receiving messages, if you have questions about your psychic abilities, if you have questions about ancestral programming, any of that stuff. But I'm really being guided so strongly lately to help people release ancestral programming, because that is what we're all being called to do as a collective, so we can step into higher states of consciousness and bringing our psychic abilities online in an even deeper way. Okay. Oh, Jennifer said, oh, Nat says I needed this affirmation. Um, oh, Lydia said you needed this today. Good. And Jennifer jumped in on the exact moment I needed to. Perfect. It's always like that. Allison says curiosity is a core value. Totally. It has to be. I love that. And Lydia says, I totally agree. I didn't start seeing angel numbers and synchronicities until I started doing shadow work. Yes, exactly. That's a perfect example. And Lydia says, I would love to hear tools for how to uncover and release. Okay, so that is a really great question. I have plenty of them. I think a really good place to start would be with one of my personalized breathwork sessions. I have been getting crazy amounts of orders for these. So I'm really like excited about them because everybody's been really loving them. But I put the link up there to get it. But basically, this is a really great tool to have in your toolbox to release fear and release this old programming. Also, with the deeper ancestral programming, you definitely want to get support, because when there's programming and emotions and beliefs that are living in the subconscious, it's not always easy for us to access. That's why they're not conscious, right? So it can be really helpful to have somebody to help you pinpoint exactly what that belief is, what that old emotion is, what that programming is, so that you can fully release it and you can bring it into your conscious awareness so that you can shift it in every moment when you see it coming up, right? So it is important to get support from somebody, but I would say a great place to start is to get the personalized breathwork session. So the personalized breathwork session, basically what it is you fill out a form of exactly what you're wanting to create, what you're wanting to release, and then I will go into your Akashic records and channel the breathwork session for you, and I'll send you a downloadable MP3 file and you can use it at any time. Okay, so Nat says, I had a direct call to do this just recently. What is the best way for me to release the ancestral programs I need to release to step into my next level of power? Where should I look within or outside of my existing tools? You should do the metamorphosis, to be quite frank. It's really the most powerful set of tools that I have seen to quickly and efficiently deal with ancestral trauma. And there's a couple people watching that have done it, so you could ask them as well. But ancestral programming is an intense thing to release, and I've come up with a set of tools that can really help you release it in an efficient way. But yeah, breath work is a really great place to start. That's a lot of what we do in the metamorphosis, but that is the most efficient tool set that I have seen to move through ancestral trauma and programming, because that's a big thing that we're all moving through right now. I also have been curating different ways, different packages for people around this, but the metamorphosis is really the most direct way. So you can reach out to me if you want to talk about that more. So yeah. Any other questions? Oh, Emily says do the metamorphosis. Yeah, it is very helpful. And then also, if you guys have questions about the personalized breathwork session, let me know. It's pretty straightforward. You just click on that link, fill out the information. It's only $99, and I'll get it to you within 4 to 5 days. I'm also doing a special right now where you get a bonus breathwork session thrown in. So I have a couple around prosperity, anxiety relief, and manifestation. So you can pick which one you want when you fill out the form. So it's kind of a bonus that I'm doing right now, which is really fun. And these are just really great things to have in your toolbox that you can use at any time to completely shift your energy. Like, you will notice an immediate shift after you do the breath work where your energy completely changes, your perspective completely changes, and the more you do it, the more change that will happen. But if you are looking for like that deeper ancestral programming shift where you need to like go deep and uncover what's in the subconscious, then working with me directly and doing the metamorphosis is really the best way to go. And I'd be happy to answer questions about that. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to hop off. I have a bunch of personalized breathwork sessions to make right now, so I'm gonna get to it. It's actually really fun for me though, because I just go into this total like meditation state and it just comes through me. I like don't even remember what I say. So I always feel really relaxed and like high afterwards, so it's kind of cool. Um, all right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for all your really good questions. Feel free to message me or reach out to me if you have questions about anything I talked about. And I will see you all soon. Bye.